This is Sports Talk, home to great debates and the hottest sports topics. Now, here are your hosts, Jeremy Farina, Justin Paolillo, and Holden Borelli.
Hello, North Haven. It is good to be back. It's been a while for myself. I've been gone for, I think, 2 months now.
Yep.
You've seen Justin and Holden just debating it out without me.
We've missed a couple weeks as well, so
yeah, it's been a while. We're happy to be back. We got a great lineup tonight. I mean, first off, I got to introduce my co-host here, the amazing Justin Paolillo. Now, Justin.
Yeah.
The rumor is you're committed, and you know where you're going to college next year.
I will be attending Virginia Commonwealth University.
Following Larry Sanders?
Following Larry Sanders' footsteps. No, I'm going to University of New Haven. Thank you, Jeremy.
Ovation.
But I wish I don't want to say I had the balls, but I wish I was able to go to VCU. I just don't like dormitories, and if I didn't mind dorms, I would probably be going to Virginia Commonwealth, or maybe joining you where you're going to school. Maybe if I get used to dorms.
I mean, I'm going to Arizona State. Go Sun Devils. so
I better not see you. I better not see you on television like with your shirt off or
Justin,
something.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna be sitting front row of the basketball games. You know, face paint, shirt off. I'm gonna have a big A, and some two guys next to me are gonna be the S and the U.
And you're gonna have a poster that says NH Sports Talk.
Yes, we're gonna be Skyping me in from Arizona for this show. I'm not gonna be
Holden
done
and I
here.
will still be here in September, so
yeah. And then
hottest.
They're gonna put me right on this monitor right here.
Oh God! Yeah, you're gonna walk off the set.
I'm gonna be like the all-seeing eye, just looking over you guys.
You're gonna walk off the set?
Oh, I can't walk off this. I mean, someone will have to roll me off the set. But anyways, we got a great list. We're gonna talk about some Deflategate, some reactions to that, the most improved division post-free agency and draft. Then we're going to talk about who we felt had the best draft. We're going to go over to the NBA, talk a little bit of playoffs, the Clippers, Cavaliers, Bulls, Rockets. Going to touch on everything tonight. But before that, me and Justin have been working on something for a while now. We're finally able to finish it. We have been doing a documentary on the North Haven high school football team, the varsity team, the 2015 season. Obviously, it ended in the playoffs with a loss to Windsor. But we covered it, got clips from every game, and we put together a 15-minute documentary that we wanted to show you guys. Well, there it is. That was the documentary we made. We did have some audio files that I guess didn't transfer over when we burned them from the editing software. Some we got to fix. We'll definitely do that later. But it was fun making it. I don't know if you have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you saw was the whole thing. There was just a couple songs missing, but all the video was the same. And, yeah, it was a lot of fun making it. I mean, we put the time in, but it was well worth it at the end when you see that final project. And then when we showed the football team, and not that they didn't have, like, you know, smiles on their face, but you could tell that they were definitely enjoying it. And a lot of the players came up to us after and said they loved it. I mean, one kid was like, I had the chills the whole time. So it definitely feels good when you get that kind of recognition for what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving on, we'll get to the task at hand, and we'll talk some sports. Justin, Deflategate. Finally, we get some penalties. Tom Brady suspended 4 games, $1 million fine, lose a first-round pick in 2016, a fourth-round pick in 2017. Give me your overall reaction, and after that, what you feel the biggest penalty they received was, what's going to affect them the most?
My overreaction to this was, I kind of saw this one coming. Like, I mean, you heard about it. We heard about it right before the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, you hear about it then, and you're like, you know, I personally thought something was going to come up later after the Super Bowl ended, but I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. Like, once, like, a couple months went by, I said, oh, maybe it's over. But then now it comes up now, and they're like,
yeah,
it actually
so
happened.
For the
like,
report to occur.
Not that it came out of nowhere, but it's almost like people kind of forgot about it, and they were just moving on to next season, the draft, and then you get this news that it actually did happen, and Tom Brady was a big part of it. But I think the penalties were fair. I mean, like you asked me, Jeremy, I think the hardest, the one that will hit them the hardest is going to be the Tom Brady 4 games, because, as we'll talk about later in the show, one of the divisions that leaped up big time this year was the AFC East, and it's going to be tough to beat all those teams. Nevertheless, some other division teams and other conference teams without your starting Super Bowl winning quarterback, and they did lose some pieces on the defensive end as well. So it's going to be you can't really win on your defense either. So I think that Tom Brady suspension is going to hurt them the most, because in that division, if you start off 0-4, 3-1, it's going to be hard to bounce back and make the playoffs again, whether it's a wild card. And I definitely don't think they're going to win the division without Tom Brady in the first 4 games. I mean, the money. Listen, they could sell
$1 million.
You're not paying Tom Brady for 4 games, so you're going to make that pretty much most of that back just by not paying the man. So I don't think the $1 million is a big deal, and but it's definitely Tom Brady with the 4-game suspension. That's going to hurt the team, and I think it's definitely going to knock them out of the playoffs this year. And the Patriots are the team that you think every year is a Super Bowl pick, and this year, because of Tom Brady being out, I just don't think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you look at the Patriots and what they're, I guess, known for, and it seems like whenever they win the Super Bowl, there's always some sort of controversy. I mean, you had Spygate. They really didn't face any repercussions for that. Goodell ends up burning the tapes or whatever happens behind the scenes that we don't know about. And then this one, moving on to the season, Deflategate and all the stuff going on. I mean, deflating the footballs doesn't seem like the biggest thing, but it's against the rules, so there's got to be some sort of repercussions. I do think that it's hard to impose such harsh penalties when a lot of it's based on, it's more than likely that Tom Brady knew, or it's more than likely this. It's hard to really agree with the punishments that were put out for no hard evidence being supported. I think a lot of this comes down to Tom Brady not allowing the league to see some of the text messages he had and declining a second interview.
Show that you're guilty.
I think a lot of that really points to him maybe not wanting to incriminate himself any more than what he can, and maybe the 4-game suspension is better for him to take than maybe possible 6 to 8 if he hands over the text messages and there's the hard evidence they're looking for. So I think that's really what's putting the punishments on. When looking at the punishments and seeing what you think is the worst, I think it might be the first-round pick, because the Patriots are a team that like to build through the draft. They haven't really gone out and signed any big free agents as the last couple of years. I mean, they brought in Revis, but it seemed like he was off of a decline year. He wasn't a marquee free agent. So I think that the first-round pick's really going to hurt them, just based on how the Patriots build their team and how they've built these Super Bowl contending teams over the last couple of years. But I do think that eventually it's going to catch up with you. I think that suspension's going to go down to maybe 2-1 games, just because that's usually how the NFL ends up doing it. I mean, you look at Roethlisberger, got suspended a couple years back. It went from 6 to 4. And then even Ndamukong Suh gets his suspension completely taken back in the playoffs. But I think that that's going to be reduced. And I think the biggest thing's definitely going to be that first-round pick. And even the 4th-round pick, I mean, those picks are sometimes overlooked at times. That's where you can grab some marquee players. I mean, they're not going to be your stars, but they're role players that could be very effective on your team. So I think that that's where the Patriots are going to lose out most. Moving on, Justin preluded to it earlier. We're going to talk about what divisions we felt were most improved after the draft and after free agency. Justin, who are your pick?
As I mentioned earlier, the AFC East was definitely dramatically improved. I mean, the Bills, who have always been considered the laughingstock of that division, have LaShawn McCoy at running back, and my 2 favorite wide receivers in the whole league together, Percy Harvin and Sammy Watkins, all on the same team, and their defense is still great. So that team's going to be a force to reckon with. The Jets are good; they're 1 quarterback away, and then the Dolphins had the best free agent of the draft in Ndamukong Suh. I think they'll probably get the short end of the stick in this division just because it's so good. I think they're going to come in 4th, but coming in 4th in that division's still it's a pretty good thing to do. But another division that I think improved was the AFC South. I mean, the Colts the past couple of years have just been, just running away with that division because the Texans have had quarterback issues. The Jaguars, the Jaguars, and then the Titans have had just overall issues. They need a quarterback's injured, whatever. But, I mean, the Titans, you grab Marcus Mariota, and you fit that long-term role of your quarterback, and then you could start building around him. So they're definitely going to be improving as the season goes on. The Jaguars add Julius Thomas, and they have Marquise Lee coming back, and I think
Blake Bortles is going to have some weapons.
Blake Bortles will be there, and he's come in, had a year to play. He's coming back for a second year, so he's gonna have some weapons. Their defense did improve, and as far as the Colts go, I don't think they necessarily improved, but I think they're going to stay the same, maybe a little better. I mean,
I think Frank Gore was good.
They got Frank Gore.
They do lose Bradshaw, and then you look at Andre Johnson.
They had Andre Johnson. So I think they'll stay pretty much the same. I mean, maybe a little better offensively.
They're in the AFC Championship last year, so if you're staying where you are, it's not bad.
It's not bad, yeah. And I think that if anything, they're going to improve. They're definitely not going to, fall off this year. But I think that division, from going from just a one-team division pretty much to all 4 teams are going to be competitive, I think that's a big improvement.
I think that when you look at a team that can benefit from a possible Tom Brady suspension, I think you got to say it might be the Indianapolis Colts. It seems like this team is a completely different team when they're playing at Lucas Oil Stadium. I mean, Andrew Luck seems to take it to another level when he's there. And not that they struggle on the road and they're not able to win games. I mean, they've come in as wildcard teams. They've won games on the road. But it seems like when they go up to Foxborough and try to play the Patriots there, it doesn't seem to work out for them. So I think that if they can take advantage, if there is going to remain a 4-game suspension for Tom Brady, and the Patriots maybe take 2-2 or they go 1-3, I think that that's where the Colts got to step in, assert themselves as a power in the AFC, and really make sure that they can get that 1 seed or at least a 2 seed, be above the Patriots. So if there is a playoff game against them again, they're able to host it instead of having to go on the road to Foxborough. So I think the Colts are going to have to definitely take advantage of that. But as for most improved division, I think I got to go with the AFC East here. The Jets' defense, I mean, it was already good last year. The only thing that was struggling was they needed to add some cornerbacks. They had 3 of them in Antonio Cromartie, Buster Skrines, and Darrelle Revis, all guys that are going to come in and really affect them and make them so much better. And then they also add Marcus Gilchrist from the San Diego Chargers to play safety. And they were trying to get DJ Swearinger from the Texans as well, as they waived him. If they could have added him, I think they would have had the clear-cut best offseason here. But that's obviously going to make their defense a lot better. And like Justin said, they're a quarterback away. Whether they try to go Geno or Ryan Fitzpatrick, one of them, if they're able to play just enough to maybe put up 21 points consistently, then I think this Jets team can be a serious contender. You look at the Bills, obviously Rex Ryan's coming in. They lose Kiko Alonso to get LeSean McCoy. I don't think they really filled that void that they're going to have at linebacker, but I think the defense is good enough where they'll be able to play at the level they did last year, maybe without him. And then you look at the Dolphins, obviously adding Devontae Parker in the draft and bringing in Greg Jennings. They really kind of help Ryan Tannehill get him more weapons. Obviously losing Mike Wallace, but I think Devontae Parker is going to come in and be that spark they're going to need. And then you look at the Patriots. I mean, they may have had a bad offseason, but Bill Belichick's a guy that believes in his scheme. He feels that his team makes the player, not the other way around. So I think that the Patriots are going to be fine. I mean, if Tom Brady's out 4 games, it's going to hurt him. But I don't think you're going to be looking at them maybe not making the postseason this year. So the AFC's definitely got a lot better.
Well, another thing I forgot to mention about the Texans, too, I mean, that pass rush is going to be scary next year
absolutely.
with Clowney, Cushings, Watt, Wilfork. I mean, that team is just... If you're Luck, if you're Mariota possibly, or Bortles, you're going to be a little scared going up against the Texans.
I think that's huge because you think about what a lot of teams are doing is J.J. Watt lines up on the right side, you run to the left. Adding Wilfork to that team is huge because now it almost takes that away because you got to pick your poison here. Are you attacking Wilfork or are you attacking J.J. Watt? So I think that was a huge offseason addition for that team. But, Justin, I want to look at the flip side of this. Which division do you think really fell off? If I'm going to pick a division, I'm going to say the NFC West. I mean, this team 2 or 3 years ago, I mean, the 49ers and Seahawks were arguably the 2 best teams in the league at some points. And then you look at where they've gone now. The Seahawks obviously were in the Super Bowl. They're going to be right back where they are. They had a good offseason adding Jimmy Graham. Obviously, they lose their Pro Bowl center in that trade. But Jimmy Graham's going to be huge for Russell Wilson, a weapon he's going to have. And then you look at the 49ers. They lose a lot of guys to retirement. Patrick Willis, he's been there for so many years running that defense. They lose him. You wonder what's going on. Jim Harbaugh gets fired, and then they promote their defensive line coach to head coach. You wonder if there could be a problem there. And then the Cardinals, a lot of people are saying they're going to fall off despite, winning 11 games last year. I don't think they'll completely fall off, as a lot of people are saying they might possibly like a 5-11 season. I think Palmer could, if he's able to come back and to be a decent quarterback, that defense is really good. So I think that they'll be able to contend. But then the Rams, a lot of people don't know what's going on with Nick Foles. It seemed like they were trying to move him on draft day, so not a lot of consistency there. And then you look at well, so am I missing? I got everyone.
Yeah, you got everyone.
But I think that division, it seemed like there was a clear-cut Super Bowl contender every year coming out of there, maybe 2. And now I think it's kind of iffy.
Yeah, Jeremy, I'm definitely agree with you on the NFC West, and I would say that they're my top choice. But another division that I wouldn't say dropped off dramatically, but I would say the NFC North with the Packers, who they're going to just be the Packers, and so they didn't really improve. But then you look at the Vikings, I don't think they really did anything. I think they're going to be pretty much the same team they were last year.
They'll get AP back, so that might help.
They'll get AP, and then they got Mike Wallace, as you mentioned. But the Bears have been with Jay Cutler and all that going on. They're going to be terrible next year. And then the Lions, I think they're going to be the same old Lions where they win. They're on this streak, and you think, oh, this team might be a Super Bowl contender, and then look what happens. December hits, whatever, and then they start to fall off again. So, and then you lose Sue on your defense, which is big. So I think that division definitely fell off. But Jeremy, very quickly, another division that I think will improve is the NFC South, who was horrible the NFC South
with Panthers,
because if you look at the Bucs, I mean, Jameis Winston could turn this team around, and then I think the Saints with Drew Brees, and then you got Matt Ryan and the Falcons. I think they're there, and then I think the Panthers will improve this year. So I think every team's going to get a little bit collectively better, and they're not going to be that, like I'll use that laughing stock of the NFC again. So I think that division will improve, but overall, I'm going to say the AFC East improved the most, and then I would say the NFC West.
I think the South. Fall off. I think looking at the South, I think you're definitely going to get a contender out of the Carolina Panthers. It seemed like there was a lot going on with the offensive line there. Not really a lot of weapons that were at Cam Newton's disposal. They go out, draft Evan Funchess
didn't they have
Michigan.
Luke Kuechly out?
Yeah,
he was out last year as well, so he'll be back.
So I think that's definitely going to help them. That team, they're a scary group if they can get going. I mean, Cam Newton, if he's having a good game and he's able to hit his throws, I mean, there were moments when they were playing the Seahawks where you were thinking Panthers might be able to upset them here and move on. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do. They had Funchess from Michigan in the draft to help him with the wide receiver depth. So we'll see where they're able to go. We're going to talk about the best draft. Now, personally, I mean, I might have a little bit of a bias here, but I think the Jets did a pretty good job in this draft. They go out, they had Leonard Williams, arguably the best player in the draft with the 6th pick. They were talking after. That was obviously huge. They were talking about how all of the Jets advisors were doing mock drafts, and they did 100, and only one time did they have Leonard Williams still available with their pick, and they ended up getting him in the real draft. I would have, if they didn't get Leonard Williams, I would have liked to see them add Kevin White, maybe add another weapon to that offense, but I can't disagree with that pick. Not only does it add, he's going to step in and be able to be a starter right away, but it allows you to maybe look and trade Muhammad Wilkerson, a guy that a lot of teams are interested in. You're maybe able to get
and add a piece
a
on
weapon, or maybe you're able to get a quarterback somehow. That seems to be the one thing they're missing. And then going in the second round, getting Devin Smith, a downfield threat, something they've really been lacking out of Ohio State. I think he's going to be able to blow the cover off of a lot of teams this season and really help them. But overall, I think that they had a good draft. You look at the Bears, they trade Brandon Marshall. They're able to get Kevin White to step right in. I think that was a good pick as well. I think the steal of the draft, though, has got to be the Texans in the 3rd round, being able to get Jalen Strong, the wide receiver out of Arizona State. Go Sun Devils. But I mean, this guy was expected to be a late 1st-round pick, and then you look, he falls all the way to 3rd round
really
because of an injury.
That's really what they did. They do need. I mean,
they trade Andre Johnson. I mean, they have DeAndre Hopkins. He's been great. And then if Jalen Strong can step right in.
They just need a QB.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean,
they had Brian Hoyer, but I don't think he's going to be the
you're
quarterback
a big
of the future.
And we know Mr. Soderholm is a big Brian Hoyer fan.
I mean, if Brian Hoyer can step in and do what he's got to do for a year or two to keep this, or to get this Texans team possibly to the postseason. I mean, they were a 9-7 team last year. They're contending for it. So we'll see what they're able to do. I mean, I know you're a big fan of the AFC South, and you're loving those Texans down there.
Yeah, I like the Texans. I think they definitely benefited from the draft. I really like what the Jets did. I mean, like you mentioned, Jeremy, the odds of them getting
Leonard Williams
was so slim, and that's really after the 2 quarterbacks, which I'm sure they wanted. That was really what they needed. Not what they needed, but that's what they wanted. That's really a good fit for them. I think if they could have maybe gotten like a guy like Amari Cooper or a White, I think that would have helped out. But I mean, the Buccaneers, you get the 1st pick and you get a possible franchise quarterback right there. So I think the Buccaneers definitely came out on top. I mean, I don't know too much about the NFL draft. I don't follow it as much as I do the NBA. But just based on, talking to other people and whatnot, I got to go with the Jets like you, Jeremy.
So, Justin,
I have a bias too.
Who's going to be the Eagles' starting quarterback next year? You got Sanchez, you got Bradford, Tebow stepping in, Barkley. What do you think?
I think you got to give it to Sam Bradford. definitely not Tim Tebow, because
Tim Tebow stepping in, he's going to be a stud.
No, because listen, the thing I feel like will happen with Tim Tebow is he'll step in and like Murray will like play out of his mind, and they'll say like, look what Tebow did, he won 5-6 games or something. I think you got to go with Sam Bradford. He's still relatively young. He's got the talent. Former #1 overall pick. I think he's going to start fresh in a new system. Just get all those injuries off of his back. New weight lift the weight off his shoulders, start fresh, whatever. And I think you got to just see how it goes with him. Maybe halfway through the year, and I think you got to go with Sam Bradford for the Eagles.
I don't know. Sam Bradford, I loved him when he was at Oklahoma, but I feel like this guy.
Did you like him on the Rams?
I feel like he was robbed of a chance with the Rams. His offensive line was always awful.
And now they have a good offensive line.
Never had a solid wide receiver. Never had a stud wide receiver on his team. Not even a stud. He never had an average wide receiver on the roster. I mean, they tried to draft Tavon Austin to help him out, but that really didn't pan out the way they were hoping. So you got to look at that and say, what's he really got to work with? I mean, he had Steven Jackson for a couple years, and then after that, he really didn't have much to work with. So he's kind of thrown into a system where there's no weapons for him to work with. Not even like he has a good offensive line behind him. So in that, I mean, he said he was thinking about retiring before getting traded to the Eagles. So I think it's hard to really discredit him.
He might
for
have
what
no
he did
confidence
with the Rams.
left.
Yeah, but I feel like he could be successful in that system. I think Mark Sanchez did play well when he stepped in for Nick Foles when he got hurt. Did he play well enough to maybe earn himself the starting job? I don't know. I don't know if Eagles fans are going to want to hear either of these guys.
I think the media wants to see Tebow jump in.
If
you have Tebow and Sanchez
job,
on the same team, talk about media attention.
If Tebow gets the starting job in Philadelphia, I'll come on the show shirtless, Justin.
You'll come on the show shirtless?
I will come on the show
shirtless. Well, see, this isn't a problem because I like the Eagles, and I will always root for them, but I got to root for the Bills this year. I mean, Sammy Watkins and Percy Harvin on the same team, man, with LaShawn McCoy
with that team, does it even matter who the quarterback's going to be? It's going to be handoffs to LaShawn McCoy all day. He's going to be the workhorse. Same thing to Philadelphia. They go out, sign DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews. It's just going to be a clinic.
That division almost they just keep trading players amongst themselves. It's almost like it's the same every year. It's just the same players just on different uniforms, and it's like the same results.
Justin, I want one opinion on you.
All right.
If you're a GM, you need a running back right now. Are you going to try to get Ray Rice?
Yeah, I'm taking Ray Rice. I mean, I think the off-field issues are definitely behind him. The media will come with you if you take a guy like Ray Rice. You're going to have media attention. Why did you take this guy? What does it mean for your future? Are you nervous that he's going to pull something? But I think if you have a hole at your running back, the guy knows what he's doing. He's won a Super Bowl before.
Depends on how you handle the situation, really.
And I think it depends on the market too. I think a place like the Jets would be a bad spot.
Going to Dallas.
Dallas, no, because
Dallas it wouldn't even matter because they already got Randy Gregory and they already got Greg Hardy. There's so much controversy on that team. They'd be like, oh, whatever.
They'd be like,
he's just another player.
And he would probably thrive with that O-line.
Yeah.
But maybe a team like St. Louis Rams or a team like that where small market. Not that people don't care about them, but it's more of like a localized fan base. I think that would be a good fit, but definitely not like a place like New York or maybe like Chicago. I just don't think that would be a good.
I heard he's going to make his own team, and he's going to play in L.A. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, go to L.A. Tebow could be the quarterback there.
Anyways, Justin, we're going to get to your favorite part of the show.
All right.
We're going to talk some NBA.
All right.
Do the Clippers and Cavaliers, are they closing out their series
Well, as
tonight?
we speak, the game is going on right now.
You haven't checked it, right? You don't have any insight?
I mean, I could check right now.
I want you to do it off the top. You can't check it.
All right.
Are the Cavaliers closing out the Bulls?
They do not close out the Bulls tonight, in my opinion. I just think this is going to go 7 games,
back to Cleveland?
And I think the 7th game will, if it's not an overtime game, it's going to come down to the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's not going to be a blowout by any team. I think the Bulls will win by a decent margin, 5 or 6 tonight. And then I think Game 7, I think in Cleveland, I think that's going to be a very close game. You got Gasol coming back; he's only going to be healthier, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see
the Cavaliers fans' hearts.
I don't know. But,
come on! You gotta put yourself on the line here.
No, they will break him because like 2 months ago on the show when you guys said
Jimmy Butler gonna hit a game-winning jumper?
Jimmy Butler had 29 points the other night. He's worth the max contract. The Lakers are gonna offer it to him.
Are the Bulls gonna match it?
I don't think so.
Is Jimmy Butler wearing a Lakers uniform?
I told you, if Jimmy Butler goes to the Bucks, I'm transferring to Marquette University.
Wait. Marquette University.
But yeah,
what about the Clippers?
The Clippers.
Clippers beating your Rockets?
This one's tough because they're at home, and they play a lot. They play very good at home. But I just got to go with James Harden. I think James Harden, he's just coming off the triple-double the other night. I think he's going to come out strong. He's going to have his fair share of threes. He's going to get his teammates involved. I think, Dwight Howard coming off that awful game. I think it was game 4 when he had, I think he got ejected.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Dwight Howard.
You love Dwight Howard.
No, get him out of here.
And then they got Josh Smith, who actually played very well in game 5. They're giving him the start again in game 6. So
I got one question for you. Are they making the 3-1 comeback?
I think they are.
Oh!
Nah.
Justin, you got both teams that were down 3-2 coming back and winning. The difference is, though, the Bulls, they were tied at one point. Right.
It was never tied in the Rockets-Clippers. Well, it was tied 1-1, but it was never 2-2. So I just think...
You realize there's an 82% chance of the team going up 3-2 winning the series.
I know it is, but I just think the Rockets can steal this. Look, the Clippers are a good team, and I don't be surprised if they win. But I think if the Rockets could steal this game on the road, I think going back home for Game 7, I think they could win on their home court. That's the difference, because the Bulls, they'd have to go back to Cleveland, which I think they could win on the road.
So you're saying if the Rockets steal Game 6, they win at home?
Yep.
But if the Bulls take Game 6, it's not a sure thing.
It's not a sure thing, but I still think they're going to pull out on top. I just see these teams going far. Like, I picked the Bulls to beat the Cavs, and I think if Pau Gasol was healthy at the series, I think they would probably win 4-1, but then you can make the argument, well, what if Kevin Love was playing? What would the series be? Right. But I think as far as a playoff level, I think Pau Gasol has a bigger impact than Kevin Love does in a playoff setting, just because of, the guy led the league in double-doubles this year. But he's doing it. At late 30s, that's big. Listen, I know the odds are way against it, but
you like it.
I
like it.
I want to see that happen. I want to see that happen.
I'll tell you what's going to happen right here. Clippers. As much as it kills me to say it, they're closing out your Rockets.
They're not my Rockets.
This is what's going to happen. One of these two teams is going to win by about 30 points. You just don't know which one each night. Cavaliers, I would love to see Chicago break the hearts of Cleveland
and think
fans.
about what if Chicago wins?
I think Chicago definitely takes Game 6. No, he's not opting out. There's no way he's leaving Cleveland again.
The Bulls do have a chip on their shoulder. Tom Thibodeau is reported to be fired unless they win a championship. Even if they win a championship, he might be fired. So they have to win a championship to get. If they lose tonight, he's gone. That's why the Magic aren't hiring anybody.
Game 6
goes to Chicago.
Game 7. It's so hard to go against LeBron in an elimination game. I remember going against LeBron when he was playing the Celtics when they had their big
Game
three.
6 when
he dropped
45.
like 40 points.
Dropped 40, and they had that look on his face like he was in the zone that whole game.
I got to take the Cavs in
But think about
7.
Derrick Rose.
Cavs in Game
Derrick
7.
Rose has had a good playoffs. He started off with 9 points in like 4 minutes the other night. So Rose is...
It kills me to say it. Derrick Rose has been playing well. He's still been playing for the last 2 seasons.
I don't want to jinx him. He could get hurt. He could get hurt tonight.
You don't even got to worry about jinxing him. He'll get hurt anyways.
Without a jinx, he'll get hurt.
What about Grizzlies Golden State?
Listen,
your Grizzlies,
my Grizzlies,
backs against the wall.
When the Grizzlies are in the finals, we'll show that clip from before the season.
So all 3 of the series that we've done so far, you got the teams coming back from down 3-2.
Listen,
Golden State closes them out in 6.
I'm going to say that the Grizzlies are going to get it. The other two I want to see happen.
The Grizzlies aren't getting it.
The other two,
Steph Curry is closing out your Grizzlies.
I think all 3 series will definitely be tied. After, they're going to go to Game 7, all 3 series.
Steph Curry's closing you out.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Who's stopping Steph Curry right now?
Listen, Mike Conley can play defense. And the thing with Steph Curry
Where was he Game 5?
Steph Curry lives by the 3 and he dies by the 3.
Right.
And
he's hitting
He had 0 field goals inside the 3-point line last night.
Doesn't matter.
He had 10
scored
threes.
33.
He had 10 threes and 3 free throws. That was it. So if
That's
his three isn't falling, the Warriors will get destroyed.
No. It doesn't matter.
And Klay Thompson.
I'm telling you right now.
Klay Thompson has been irrelevant in these finals.
That was my Western Conference pick in the beginning. So
are they winning
you can go back and see that.
Is Golden State winning it all?
Yeah.
No, they're not winning it all.
They're winning it all. They're winning it all.
They're winning it all. They slid by the Pelicans. I know it was a sweep, but
they swept them. They won all 4 games.
Game 1, Tyreek Evans didn't play. He played 5 minutes and they lost by 6. So Tyreek Evans is going to win that game.
Justin.
Listen.
There's a reason why Monty Williams doesn't have a job anymore.
Listen. Game 4.
Because he got swept.
The big reason
I don't want to hear it.
Game 4, they were up 20 and the Pelicans blew the lead. So that could arguably win a 2-2 series.
So the Bulls did the same thing, and so did the Wizards. The Wizards blew it in Game 5. We're moving on. Wizard Talks. Who you got?
Wizard Talks.
You're going to pick all 4 of the games. The team down 3-2 is going to win it.
I got to go with the Hawks.
This is the one I'm going with the team that's down 3-2. The Wizards are going to win this series.
Listen.
The truth is going to be too much. John Wall played his butt off with a no wrist. Bradley Beal's been on fire recently. Gortat's going to play well. I don't know what's going on.
Otto Porter Jr., the best pick of that draft 2 years ago, is
Otto Porter
playing
Jr.
big
has
time.
been playing really well.
All right, I'm going to restate this.
Well, you got to tell me about the Hawks are going to win.
I will, one sec. Out of the 4 series, the one I want to guarantee is the Grizzlies beating the Warriors.
They're not beating the
But
Warriors.
the other 3, I want to see the Bulls win. I want to see the
so then
Rockets
give me your
win.
for real picks.
But I could see those series going either way. I'll tell you right now, they're all going to Game 7s. I just have a feeling they're all going Game 7s.
Golden State's going to close out your Grizzlies.
No, the Grizzlies are winning it. They're going to.
They're not winning at all,
Yes,
Justin. You don't have enough offense. Everyone was blaming their offense for Tony Allen being on the floor. They scored 78 when he was out.
Well, no, it can't be Tony Allen.
Listen.
Well, but see, the thing is, Tony Allen scored 22 points one game.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of it off steals and defense. This is tough. I hate picking this because I think the Bulls and I think the Rockets can do it. Not necessarily, but I think the Grizzlies are that team that will come over the hump. But I think the Hawks win. I think the Hawks win in 7. I think all 4 series go to Game 7s.
Tell me right now.
By 4 picks.
Who's playing for the finals?
The conference finals?
Who's playing in the NBA finals?
In the NBA finals. Grizzlies.
Get out of here. They're going to get closed out in 6. Curry's on fire right now.
Grizzlies and the Bulls will be in the finals. And you're going to have one hell of a defensive matchup.
Ooh. That's going to be like 50-50, the final score of that game.
I just think the Grizzlies can do it. I think if they could steal Game 6, not steal Game 6, I think they could win Game 6 on their home court in Memphis.
No. They're literally getting closed out.
And they've already proven they could win in Golden State.
How much do you want to bet that the Grizzlies get closed out?
Listen, I have to go with the Grizzlies because I picked them to win it all. The other series, I think, I'll put it this way. I hate this because I could see I could see James Harden dropping 40 a night and winning.
Not even that. Trevor Ariza dropped 20.
Listen, all games will go 7. All series will go 7 games. I think. I'm picking one team coming back from 3-2, and that's the Wizards. That's the Wizards.
So
do they all go Game 7?
What do you think about Paul Pierce calling series after he hit that 3 and then Horford getting the rebound?
Paul Pierce had every right to call series. It wasn't that it was a lucky shot, but that doesn't happen often. I mean, usually when you hit a 3 like that, the game's over. So he was right to call, and that was a clutch shot. It wasn't like he's calling it with 30 seconds left and they hit a good shot like a clutch shot. That wasn't clutch by any means. It was a good hustle play by Horford, but it wasn't a clutch shot.
Yeah.
If anything, they blew it because Dennis Schroeder drove to the hoop and got stuffed by John Wall.
What about the play call by Randy Whitman there, though? I loved it. You have John Wall run baseline, set 2 picks for him. If you can't get the look, you got Pierce wide open in the corner. It seemed like that play call was foolproof.
It was a good play because, I want Wall or Pierce. I'd rather have Pierce with the ball in his hands. Like I said, I'd rather have Pierce.
Either you're going to
anybody in the league except Kobe. Kobe's the only guy I wouldn't want to have the ball except for Pierce. Like, if I have Durant, LeBron, and Pierce on my team, Pierce is taking the final shot. But I just think the Hawks will take that series, but I think they're all going to go 7 games these series. I just think it's that close. These matchups are so close.
I think Al Horford's got to be the X factor in that series. I mean, he played incredible in that second half. He played great.
All right. Let me give you my X factor in all the series.
Okay, Clippers versus Rockets.
Clippers versus Rockets. The X factor will be the play of J.J. Redick. If J.J. Redick continues to shoot the ball
Austin Rivers can go off, too.
Austin Rivers if their shooting gets better, the Clippers. But I think it's going to be J.J. Redick.
Okay, give me Cavaliers-Bulls.
Cavaliers-Bulls.
That's got to be Powell.
The X factor, like you said, is Powell. I mean, he's coming back. If he struggles because of the injury and he can't, and then I think they lose because they give him a lot of looks. But if he is the Pau Gasol that he was in the regular season, I think he drives his team to win the series.
Then you got Grizz Golden State. Clear cut
X factor is Jeff Green. Jeff Green was brought in to be that guy off the bench or starting for Tony Allen, and he needs to be an offensive player. He hasn't been doing much offensively. I think if he can pick up his offense, score some points, continue his defense, I think the Grizzlies win it, and that's what I'm predicting to happen.
What about Vince Carter? Do you think he can come up big?
Vince Carter is the emotional part of that team. I mean, when I watch these games, I say, look, Curry hits a 3, they're edging close. This is how the games go. The Grizzlies start out close because they control the tempo and they go up 10, and then you think, oh, the Grizzlies are on a streak, And then within a 2-minute period, the Warriors hit like 5 threes, and it's like tied.
And that's why you're getting closed out in 6.
No.
You
Listen,
can't stop
like
that
I said,
barrage of threes.
Curry lives or dies by the 3. If his threes aren't falling, they're going to get destroyed. Like I said, he shot 10 threes.
It reminded me of the Knicks a couple of years back.
Did you see his shot chart? It was red around the 3-point line and like clear in the middle. There was
he doesn't have to.
He made 0 shots from inside the 3-point line.
But if you can't stop him, then why
But I'm
not?
saying he could stop himself if he misses threes.
Right.
If Connolly's playing D and he misses those shots, I mean, what is their offense? If he let's say they lost by 30. So if Curry misses half of them, it's a 15-point game. And a lot of times in basketball too, you get that crowd involved after you hit a 3. So if 5 of those don't go in, the crowd's not as involved. Maybe the ball bounces off the rim and you get a fast break or something. So those threes are definitely big time. So if he makes only 5 out of 10 threes, and Klay Thompson, as far as I'm concerned, has been irrelevant in this series. He was 6th in MVP voting, and he's been doing nothing in the playoffs. Like absolutely nothing. Like I don't know if he's worse than Max Deal after what I've seen him do in this playoffs. I mean, I understand there's so much. There's a lot of offense and not a lot to go around, but he's really not been doing much. But the final X factor in the Hawks, I like what you said about Al Horford, but I definitely think it's DeMarre Carroll. I mean, he plays good D, and if Paul Pierce is going to hit those clutch shots, the guy who's guarding him is DeMarre Carroll, and he's going to be on Beal as well. So if his defense could pick up, and he's going to get you, at least 10 points, but I think if he could pick that number up to 20, 25 points, I think they take game 6 or 7.
I think you could say it's Korver, too. Because
Korver's another one, yeah.
He's been kind of like Klay Thompson really hasn't been doing much for him.
And Jeff Teague's been struggling as well.
Yeah.
So if he could
He
pick
had
up
that one
game.
big game other than that. Anyways, we're going to move on. Justin doesn't want to accept the Grizzlies are going to get closed out in 6. But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA draft. Obviously, the Combine was today, part of it. And there's some big guys. We're going to go over the top 5 and where you think the best landing spot is for him. Justin, we'll start with Justice Winslow.
Justice Winslow, undoubtedly going to the Orlando Magic. That's the best fit for him. Whether they put him at the 2 alongside Alfred Payton or they put him at the 3, because he is 6'6", he can play the 3 with Oladipo and Payton. That's a very good, like we were talking about in journalism class, they could have Payton, Oladipo, Justice Winslow, Tobias Harris, and Vucevic.
Well, they got to keep Tobias Harris.
They got to keep him. I think they will because he's a good young player. That'd be a great starting 5 for the next at least 6-7 years, and they'd only develop, and even better, you add depth to your bench. So I think Justice Winslow is definitely a good fit for the Magic. And
what do you think about D'Angelo Russell?
D'Angelo Russell, I think he fits in with a team like the Los Angeles Lakers or a team like the Philadelphia 76ers because he can play point guard or shooting guard. And if you bring him into, let's say, a team like the Sixers, they've already got Embiid and Noel down low. And they could definitely use a wing scorer or a guard scorer to do a lot of the scoring outside the paint, which they've missed. And I think he can run that team. That's part of the reason why I think they traded Michael Carter-Williams because they knew they can get a guy like Russell or Moutier, who I think is the best guard in the draft overall.
And then you brought up Moutier. Where else do you think he could go?
I would say the same as Russell, either a team like the Lakers or a team like the 76ers, just to fill that role. The only thing is I think Moutier would fit not as well with the Lakers just because I think he's more of like a Russell Westbrook type player. He wants the ball in his hands, he wants to score, and playing with a guy like Kobe Bryant isn't the best for that system. But in the long term, after Kobe retires, I think Moutier could definitely be that franchise point guard that your team needs. So either one of those guys.
And then Okafor and Anthony Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns, I think a good fit for him would be the New York Knicks because if you have Melo starting at the 4, it'd be nice to have a guy like Towns who could actually play defense next to him.
Unlike Okafor.
And the thing with and Okafor plays some D, but I think Towns is a better defender than him. And if you're playing with a guy like Melo who gets criticized for his defense, and he is a little undersized, it's nice to have a guy like Towns to clean up the paint, and he'll get some of his scoring done. And then they play a lot better when Melo's at the 4, and that'll allow them to do it. I like Jahlil Okafor going to the Minnesota Timberwolves just because they just need that spark down low. And they got a guy like Gorgie Deng coming off the bench who can block shots. And I think you could build your franchise, maybe grab a center beside him over the 4 Okafor. So I think the Timberwolves is a good spot. That's the thing with the NBA. Like, a lot of times you don't necessarily take the best player. You take the guy who fits for your team. So let's say the Timberwolves get it. Maybe you think Karl Anthony Towns is the best player.
But they're going to take Okafor.
But you're going to take Okafor because he's maybe the bigger name. And if the Lakers get it, well, maybe not the Lakers. Let's say the 76ers get it. Are they going to take Okafor or Towns? No, because they have Moody. Because you're going to take Moody or Russell. And I think with the Knicks, if you get the first pick, which according to you, Jeremy, they have to get the first pick because it's rigged.
No, there's 5 scenarios that you could say the draft lottery is rigged.
Okay.
You got the Bulls with like a 1.1% chance they could easily get it. The Thunder team that's in there that could easily get it. Then Knicks, Lakers,
Think
any
about
of those teams.
how would the Thunder be if they got Karl Anthony Towns with
And then you get Kevin Durant to stay in OKC and Westbrook stay in OKC.
Let's say the Thunder get the first pick somehow, or the second or third, and they can get. I would say take Okafor, because Serge Ibaka's a defensive power forward.
Right.
Bring in Okafor to play offense. That's what they've been slacking. Their problem is you bring Okafor, you got Durant, Westbrook. There's not enough basketballs.
Justin, where's LaMarcus Aldridge going in free agency?
LaMarcus Aldridge will end up, in my opinion, either staying with Portland or going to the Spurs.
I'll tell you where he's going.
Where? The Knicks?
Cleveland Cavaliers.
No way.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Kevin Love's going to leave. He's going to LA.
Okay, he's going. Yeah,
he's going to LA. LaMarcus Aldridge fits Cleveland better than Love does, because LaMarcus Aldridge plays in the post. They need a post scorer more than they need Kevin Love sitting out there jacking up threes. I don't know why they didn't have him more in that position. It seems like he's always.
It didn't make sense because Timothy Mozgov is not a post-up center. It was wide open down low.
Right, and then you stick LaMarcus Aldridge in there. Not only is he's a great post scorer. I mean, one of the best in the league. Stick him in that system. You got LeBron and Kyrie doing whatever they want to do. You know, they're going to get to the rim.
Ooh.
I love it.
Kyrie Irving leaves Game 6 with a foot injury.
What's the score?
Not sure. But I'll tell you right now, you want to know an X factor in the Bulls Cavs? Tristan Thompson. This guy grabs the he grabs the clutchest offensive rebounds I've ever seen. When you need an offensive rebound, and he's an undersized power forward.
He's a free agent too.
He is a free agent. He's going to help some team big time. Where's he going? I don't know. Maybe a team like the Bucks.
What do you think about the Bucks next year? Where are they going to be in the East?
Literally close to unstoppable. They're going to be a very good team next year.
So what do we got for starting 5? We got Carter Williams.
We got Carter Williams.
Jimmy Butler.
I would love them to get Jimmy Butler, but maybe like a guy like O.J. Mayo. 3, you got Parker. No, I would say Antetokounmpo at the 3.
Yeah.
And then you got Parker. I think he could definitely play the 4. And then I would say down low, it's tough. I mean, do you go
Marc Gasol?
If they Marc Gasol and Jimmy Butler, that'd be an unstoppable team if they got both of them. But I mean, even if it's like a guy like John Henson, who they'd be an undersized team, but that's what they need, a big man. And if Larry Sanders was still there, I'm sorry, it would be in the championship.
Game over.
It'd be the championship.
Match point.
It'd be a championship if Larry Sanders was still there.
Quickly, where's Marc Gasol going?
Either with the Grizzlies, or I think he'll end up with the Knicks.
Wait,
that's another big thing.
So then what's going to happen? Are they drafting Towns? Are they drafting Okafor?
If the Knicks get Marc Gasol, they definitely should take Moody or Russell in the draft, because, and that's another thing. Would you consider taking Moody or Russell over Okafor or Towns? Are you crazy?
I'll take him. I don't care.
But it works for the situation of the Knicks. Like, why would you take Towns and have Gasol there for 3 years? That's dumb. Like, or maybe the only thing I would maybe do is get Okafor, and then you could slide Melo to 3. But that would be a crowded front court, I would think.
And they have no guard player. I mean, Hardaway Jr.
No guard player.
And they really don't have anyone.
Shane Larkin, that's pretty much.
Shane Larkin.
What's his name? Langston Galloway. I don't think that's not a point guard on a championship team by any means.
Where's Jimmy Butler going, Justin?
Well, rumor has it the Lakers are trying to they're giving him a max deal over the summer.
Do you want him to stay in Chicago?
I want him to stay in Chicago, but I would love to see him on my Bucks.
Wait, do the Bucks have they expressed like any interest in Jimmy Butler?
I mean, I'm sure every team wants him. Like the Bucks, wanted LeBron last year, but there was no chance, kind of thing. Like I'm sure they'd take him if he came to visit, but I think a guy like Butler is going to want to stay with the Bulls, or maybe go chase the money in L.A. But I mean, any team could use a guy like Jimmy Butler. Let's put him on the Spurs.
Is Kawhi Leonard worth a max contract?
Yes, he is.
No way, Justin.
Let's put Jimmy Butler on the Spurs, and you could have your 2 wing defenders of Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler. Like, nobody would score on them.
And then Aldridge's gone there, too.
And then Aldridge, yeah. So you'd have Parker, Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Aldridge, and
how many years of Tim Duncan do we got left?
In the
How many years of Tim Duncan do we got left?
Tim Duncan's got 1 more year after
this. That's it?
That's it.
1 more year? And
they have to win a championship, so bring
in a championship. Well, that's all we have for this edition of Sports Talk. We'll see you guys later.